Checking passive range for the acetabular-femoral joint. It's classified as a ball and socket or inarthrodial joint, so it possesses all three planes of movement. So flexion and extension, AB and AD adduction, internal and external rotation. From a supine position, we'll be able to check flexion. We have one variation for checking internal and external rotation. We'll also be able to check AB and AD adduction. For flexion, we're looking for 130 degrees of range, so this obviously would be our 90 degrees. Ideally, our clients would wear shorts, but even with long pants, we just want to manage that it's not the pants that's creating compensation, but actually the joint. So we're going in, ideally with the hands to the side for our clients to create space, and we're getting to that 130 degree right about here. And we don't get too much hemipelvis rotation on the opposite side, which would indicate that this joint would no longer be moving, so that's good. We get to that 130 degrees, not bad. Okay. Now we're going to come back up, because extension we're going to do in a prone position, to 90 degrees to check internal and external rotation. From this position, it's really important to make sure that the femur stays driven pretty straight through that acetabulum in the pelvis. And we're going to start by checking the rotation in internal, which we're looking for 45 degrees, okay, which we get pretty close to, but it's a little bit rough. We're definitely getting some pulling through those external rotators, but we get there. External rotation, we're looking for 60 degrees. So we're coming around, keeping the femur straight, pushing through. And we can see that hemipelvis on the opposite side, or you probably can on the video, it starts to go into some tilting. So this is definitely a tight movement for Steven through internal rotation, so the external rotator is probably tight on his right side. Okay. From here we bring the leg down, and very easily we put the hand back up on the chest. We grab the base of the calcaneus, and I'm afraid I'm probably going to run into this wall, so I'm going to come to this side, and all we're going to do is we're going to slide the femur out. I'll step over here so you can see it. We want to make sure the hip stays neutral, it doesn't get forced into rotation. We're checking for range in the adductors, okay? And we're looking for 45 degrees, which we get very easily on Steven. Okay? In fact, for his body type, we could probably expect a little bit more range in adduction for him. But it's pretty good. We don't see any major compensations, any major tension through those muscles. There's no forced rotation, so that's great. Now we're going to come back down. We can grab both heels and check in tension through the AB adductors, which again, we're really only looking for our bar at about 20 degrees. But again, for Steven's body type, I might go a little bit more. And we're looking for the hip to raise up because the pelvis goes into rotation, or the lumbar spine goes into rotation. He does pretty good with that, okay? If I could have you go prone, please. Okay, so from here we have another variation on rotation. Again, we don't have to worry about managing the femur from here, so that's very nice. And we can simply just drop the leg to the inside, which puts him into external rotation, and it allows us to get a view of the lumbar spine, right? And we knew from face-up that his external rotation was limited, right? We already knew that, but now we can see when he comes this way, how soon does lumbar start to rotate? So that's good for us to see. When we go into internal rotation, right, bringing my hand softly to the lower back, again, 45 degrees, no compensation in the pelvis or spine, that's good. Now we're going to go to extension. We're only looking for about 30 degrees of extension. So bringing the leg up just because it's easier, give a little lift and grab the bottom, well, in this case, the anterior thigh, all right? And then we're just going to lift up into extension and just observe if he goes into any rotational cheats, if he goes into his lower back at all. And there's a little bit of compensation there, just a very little bit, but overall, nothing I'd be too concerned with. Able to get that 30 degrees and back down.